Well, everyone, it's time for us to go ahead and compare the original Apple Watch SE to the latest and greatest Apple Watch SE and see which specific watch you should go ahead and buy. Now, I will definitely tell you, like I mentioned before, I think if you currently own the original Apple Watch SE, I think it's definitely worth keeping, but this SE2 is a really good upgrade, I will say. So if you want to pick up either one of these watches, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there. You can help support the channel at the same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both these watches, they both are very interesting because they kind of have the same styling. So they both come in 40 and 44mm casings. So what does this mean? Well, essentially the screen sizes are identically the same as well as the bodies. Now, the only thing that's even kind of different as far as I can tell is the back. The backs of both of these are a little bit different. The SE1 has that original back, as most of us know. The SE2 is a little bit different, and that's kind of the only way you'd be able to tell the differences between these two, if I'm being honest. So you're really not going to be able to notice any difference outside of these bodies beyond that, because they both have pretty much the same type of display. They have the same type of brightness, the 1000 nits, and they're the LTP OLED display. So there's really nothing you can tell from the outside as far as I can tell. So that is the one thing to keep in mind. Now, these two still come in GPS and GPS plus cellular models. I have a feeling very soon, just the way Apple did with the Apple Watch Ultra, they're probably going to go ahead and for some reason remove the GPS option and only give us the more expensive option. I have no idea, but as of right now, the Apple Watch SE2 at $249 is a really good price tag, and since it's overtaking the original Apple Watch SE at the same price tag, I'm actually really happy about that. Now, in turning these things on, and the internals of these things are a little bit different. So Apple did something I wasn't expecting them to do this year. They actually put in the flagship chipset, which was the S8 chip, inside of the Apple Watch SE2. What does this mean? Well, if we take a step back and we look at the original Apple Watch SE, we can see that Apple actually put the S5 chip inside that device that came out in 2020. Now, the S5 chip came with the Series 5 that came out in 2019. So it was already using a year-old chipset, but when I bought it in 2020 and I reviewed it immediately to all those other watches, it was very similar. It was very similar in speed, very similar to performance, and there really wasn't that big of a difference. But now, since the Apple Watch SE is using that same S8 chip that's in the Series 8 Apple Watch, it makes it that much more future-proofed. So if Apple even waits like 3 years to go and upgrade the SE2, I think this is a pretty good, ending point, not ending point, but I think this is a very good chipset to have for this type of device if Apple's going to continue to sell it for the next few years. Now, it's still limited in features, but that's kind of what the SE lineup is kind of known for. So that's kind of one thing to keep in mind. Now, both these things also have 32 gigabytes of storage inside of it. So you can't really, max out much more inside of these things, but that is actually a lot of capacity for these types of watches. So you can store a bunch of different data, a bunch of different things between them as well. They both have the same type of speakers as far as I can tell. They both have the same type of LTE bands too, and they both are water resistant up to 50 meters. So I think that's another really cool thing you have between both, but a really interesting feature that the Apple Watch SE2 has that the Apple Watch SE1 doesn't have is actually crash detection. So they both have fall detection, so if you fall, you can go and kind of notify you or whatever. With the crash detection, it can detect if you've been in a car accident. So this is a very interesting thing that Apple really highlighted during their keynote. I think this is a really good approach that Apple has done, and unfortunately we don't have it on any of the older watches, but we do have it with the watches with the S8 chip. So I think that's another really cool thing that we have on this specific watch as well. Now, on top of that, kind of moving forward, looking at the future of both these devices, the Apple Watch SE2 is going to have the longer lasting effect here. It's going to be the watch that's going to last, probably 2 to 3 years longer than the Apple Watch SE1. Now, to remind you, the S5 chip is inside the Apple Watch SE, which, this watch came out the same time as the Series 6. So this is technically like a 3-year-old chipset, or it's like 3 generations behind now. The Apple Watch SE2 has the latest and greatest. So I'm assuming it's going to last at least like 3 years longer, maybe 2 to 3 years longer than the Apple Watch SE1. So I think that's probably another massive thing to keep in mind here too. If you want the longest lasting watch, you may want to go for the Apple Watch SE2. Now, performance and everything is going to be enhanced with the SE2. It's going to be faster, it's going to be smoother, it's going to be just the better watch in pretty much every single area. The only thing I don't know is with the battery life. I had really good battery life from my Apple Watch SE1, and with the SE2, Apple did state it's going to be really good battery life too, but I will have to test it further to kind of test that. But looking at these two, and kind of thinking to myself, which one is the better one? Well, the SE2 is definitely the better one, but this is where things are interesting. from the Series 7 to the Series 8, I didn't really think it was that big of an upgrade, and I was like, just keep your Series 7. But between an SE1 and an SE2, this is actually a pretty decent upgrade. If you currently have an SE1, and let's say you're wanting to upgrade or you have the ability to upgrade right now, I don't think it's a bad idea. If you can keep your SE1, I'd recommend keeping it. If you're trying to look at your watch and you're wondering, I would ask you, what are you currently doing on your SE1 that needs you to upgrade, basically? Is your watch not compatible anymore with your devices and not working, whatever? If that ends up being the case, then maybe go and upgrade. But I wouldn't be pressured to upgrade, but I don't think it's a bad idea either. I think with the, SE2, I think it's a little bit of a better watch now for the price tag. I think the SE1 was still pretty good, but the SE2, with it having the latest chipset and with some of the new features like crash detection, I think that's a really cool thing, and I think it's going to give you a better experience overall. But I still would say an Apple Watch Series 7 is going to be a better watch than the Apple Watch SE2, and I think you can probably buy an Apple Watch Series 7 in the used market for probably less than $300 as of this point. And since the Apple Watch SE2 is at $249, it may make a little bit more sense to buy an Apple Watch Series 7 than an Apple Watch SE2, at least in my opinion. So that's kind of how both these watches compare. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.